Let's
Mhm.
go.
Let's
Hello,
do it.
hello, Fantasy Goats. It is your shepherd. We are going to get into the AFC East, um, the divisional outlook. That's right. We're going to continue on in the series, breaking down all the key offseason moves via free agency, via the draft. We've got the Las Vegas slash FanDuel, win totals for the upcoming season. A lot of them are super low in this division. I want to say hello to the boys, and then we're going to get right into this. I got JX Sports Warrior with us. What's up, JX, my guy? How are you?
That was good, man. AFC Albert, what you drinking over there, man?
Um, I am drinking a zero sugar Dr. Pepper.
Okay, I
I
knew it was
like
one of the. I thought it was A&W root beer for a second.
no, I like root beer. I don't like root beer that much.
Not that much. Oh, okay.
Mm-mm.
No, man, we having a great day over here. I'm glad to be back on and talk about the AFC East. So I'm
Hell
ready
yeah.
to I'm ready to get into it.
Hell yeah. I'm more than happy that you're on.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, we got the one and only AFC East Albert slash mock draft Matthew, my favorite, slash rookie draft Marvin. What's up, AB Goat? How are you this evening?
I am pretty great. Slash parlay Paul.
Oh,
Sometimes, yeah.
Parlay Paul. Okay.
Uh huh.
damn, look
You
at
know,
that.
I
It'll be we're gonna get a whole slew of unique and creative handles,
that's right.
nicknames, the entire season. I am so here for it because it just puts a smile on my face. I hope we are putting a smile on your face. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get into the AFC East for sure. Again, we're gonna break down the key off season additions, the rookie picks, how this impacts not just the actual team and football in general, but how it's going to impact our fantasy football 2025 season. Um, so yeah, we're going to do that in moments time, goats. This Thursday, I believe we're going to get into another rookie mock draft because we cover all bases here between dynasty, redraft, rookies, you name it, DFS, you name it, we got it. So
Hmm.
it's that this Thursday. So make sure you don't miss a thing, goats. Please like all the videos. Please subscribe to our. Oh, I'd still call it a brand new YouTube channel. Yeah, we're still under a year old. We're working here for you, and we appreciate all your support. Now, guys, last week we did the NFC East, and I opened up the discussion, the dialogue by asking JX and Commissioner Rhino, who's off today. Just like just give me like the temperature. Give me like that's like just a one word like weak, strong, average, mid for the NFC East. Both both of them. So it was like unanimous, more or less, agreed that the NFC East is weak. If the NFC East is weak, this division might as well damn near be in the NCAA if the
Yeah.
NFC East is weak.
Is it-
So I mean, like, I mean, again, I wavered off of that take. I didn't think the NFC East was that weak compared to what we're going to get into. But again, we're here to now project and predict forward. Let's start at the bottom. Let's work our way up to the Bills. The Patriots projected to win 5.5 games. They, for some reason decided to win their Week 18 game last season, which got them the fourth overall pick in this draft. Second year in a row, they drafted within the top freaking five, right?
Hmm.
They wasted no time dismissing Gerard Mayo, Mike Vrabel, new regime. What do you, where do you want to begin? Either of you gentlemen goats. Do you want to maybe just get into what they did in free agency. Yeah, we should probably go free agency.
Hmm.
Yeah, they were busy.
I'll go first.
Well,
I
be
hate the Rooney Rule. How about that? I hate the Rooney Rule because I definitely feel like Gerard Mayo was, a casualty of the Rooney Rule because I feel like they don't do it justice. Like they don't do it the way that it's supposed to be done. They do it like, oh hey, we'll just interview our token black guy, or like we'll just bring him in and let him coach for a year, let him coach a crappy team, and then just kick him to the curb for who we really wanted. Unfair, but it is what it is. Hopefully, he gets another chance. Um, I honestly thought that they were going to go Mason Graham with their pick because I figured Mike Vrabel, what he might want to do is have one dominant side of the football field and then try and figure out the rest of it later, maybe draft a few linemen down the line. But I love the move. I love the fact that they drafted a left tackle for Drake May. That was pretty amazing. I loved all the defensive line guys that they brought in. Milton Williams, they overpaid, but in free agency, you kind of have to if you want first dibs. So, Super Bowl winners, guys coming off rings, those guys usually get overpaid. They get they get plucked up in the first wave mostly. I like that they brought in like glue guys like Robert Spillane from the
yes.
Raiders. Love that move.
Mhm.
I like that they brought in Harold Landry. You got a hungry edge rusher with a lot to prove. Milton Williams was a very solid move. Love that. There was a corner that they brought in, I believe.
Carlton Davis.
Yeah, there you go. They brought in Carlton Davis. So it's like, they brought in some strong guys, some guys who they know they could at least rely on day one if, one of their rookies or somebody else on the depth chart doesn't step up. But they look like they're gonna have at least a respectable defense.
Yeah, no, without it's the New England Patriots. It's Mike Vrabel. Back to Harold Landry. Isn't that didn't Mike Vrabel draft him in Tennessee and brought him
Yep.
Yes, he
over
did.
with him?
Yes, he
Mhm.
did.
Yeah, so I mean, of course, we're gonna get back, or at least we're going. I mean, get back. I mean, it's not that Gerard Mayo wasn't bought into the Patriot way. That's absurd, actually.
Mhm.
Not that absurd, but it is the he is a Patriot.
Right.
But I think he was. I guess he was dealt he was dealt a bad hand. He was
Absolutely.
he was dealt a bad hand. Robert Kraft should have never given him like that promissory note. Nevertheless, yeah, they should be much better in the trenches. They should be much better in the secondary. Or they already have they have Christian Gonzalez, very very good young defensive back. I think again this would be the offensive guy in me. All eyes are on though what they do on offense with Drake
Mhm.
May under center. They drafted Travion Henderson. Okay. He will compete with Ramondre Stevenson as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson is got like a dragon breathing down his back right now, as far as I'm concerned. We'll see what this team is able to again accomplish on offense. I think that will be kind of like the bugaboo, for lack of a better word. What do you think, JX? I mean, like, can this team, if this team gels, if this team, like,
No, this team can definitely compete. Some of the moves that weren't highlighted are kind of like underrated moves because I do believe that the focus was to get the offensive line right. Like so, Will Campbell, but also like Morgan Moses on the right side.
yeah.
They also got the center from Vikings, Garrett
Garrett
Bradbury.
Bradbury.
So, they're really trying to make sure that's set up first before, they really want to think about even, doing the outside position, which they did, because what one person we didn't talk about was, Stefan Teflon. Stephon
Mm.
Teflon's on the outside now, so not only him, but they got Kyle Williams, who I think is very explosive and it's going to work to exactly what Drake May wants to do. Drake
So
May has a very lively arm. We saw how much he used Keishon Butte last year, and Kyle Williams, in my opinion, is a little more explosive version of that. So I think they're going to be stretched to the field a little bit, but also, remaining to that patient way of keeping the run game, the main thing.
I think Kyle
Hey,
Williams
did you
emerge. I think he's
did
going
you
to
guys did you guys know that Drake May was top 5 in rushing yards per run by rookies last year, quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, I mean that's definitely a
Yeah.
weapon of his, but
hmm
I don't think they want him to do that.
No. Of course, no. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not that it's not that they want him to because they weren't necessarily quarterback runs or design runs. It's just
yeah,
that Drake May,
Run for his
in
life.
between the ears,
hmm
he's very smart and he had to run for his life a lot. So
exactly,
like
and
he
that's
had
what
to
I
make it work.
mean, and that's what I mean. They don't want him to do that. Like they don't want him to live that way anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but he wasn't taking hits though, so that's good for him. Like he was protecting himself. He wasn't, putting himself in harm's way. I just think that it's gonna be one of those things where like teams think that they're gonna try and like blitz him or like play man to man across the board and like force his receivers to make plays. And then when his receivers doesn't get open, I think he's just gonna take off. Everybody's back is gonna be turned to him. He's just gonna take off.
He's got the utility.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The rushing upside is there. Whether or not
hmm
they're going to design a rushing play for him,
Probably not.
or whether or not he's gonna bail out of the pocket and try to get it on his own, that utility is there. But I would think that it would he I having the offensive coordinator in Josh
I was
McDaniels.
gonna say that Josh McDaniels. Yeah.
I mean, I would think, with his own pedigree, his resume,
hmm
they should be able to come up with a good set of plays, a good scheme where the ball is out of his hands. Now, again, I like the upside. I like this rookie that they drafted, Kyle Williams. I think
Yeah.
he's the one that's going to emerge. I like this Keyshawn Booty call though, because I
Mm.
completely forgot that was the dude at the end of last
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
Booty. Is it
Keishawn
Keyshawn?
Butte. Or
Correct.
Booty is how you pronounce it. Is it
Booty.
booty,
Butte? Yeah,
Now,
Booty.
now,
body, booty. No, no.
correct me if I'm wrong. Based on how we are attempting to pronounce it or enunciate this last name, this Cajun. He went to LSU.
He did.
Correct. Yeah.
He went to LSU. All right, yeah,
hmm
I figured he did. Look, you got to believe in that. I want to talk about one or two other dudes on this team, not named Ramadre, not named Travion Henderson, but yeah, again, it comes. I think it comes down to who the hell Drake May is targeting. Okay, so
Mhm.
it's not this young rookie. Does Pop Douglas carve out a role for him again, or is he going to be kind of like just like this player out there that's running cardio? I mean, like what do we expect out of Pop Douglas for fantasy, if anything?
Well, I
So,
don't believe in. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
oh yeah, no, I don't think his position is necessarily threatened at all. Um,
His role.
yeah, his role, yeah.
hmm
I don't expect big production, but like I said, also they didn't go out and get anybody that's going to be an immediate threat to the slot. I think it's going to be a week to week thing with him, because Drake May really relied on the tight end last year too.
Yep.
So how much is he really going to rely on Pop Douglas this year? We just don't know.
I, I think because of who the OC is, because of Josh McDaniels, I think like JX said, it's gonna be week to week, and we're gonna have to like look at the matchups if they're going against the team that their linebackers can be picked on in certain formations. Then Pop's probably gonna be in a slot a lot, matched up against a linebacker, matched up against a safety, or somebody who he has an advantage over. So like yeah, like I don't know if there's gonna be any player on this team that's gonna have like steady production where like every single week you can count on them. So like I think you'll have to look at the matchups and pick and choose. But I think Pop is locked in the slot.
Well, again, I mean, he's worth a late round dart throw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hmm
I mean, you could probably do worse.
he's a
Uh,
good PPR option,
you could
like a good
probably
flex PPR.
you could probably do worse. I'm pretty sure I have him stashed on a dynasty roster. I mean, so like if you're playing fantasy, or I should say, if you've got an upcoming startup dynasty, he's definitely someone that will be selected in that type of format, that type of platform. And then instead, the other receiver, as we all know, is Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's going to be 31 coming off of an ACL tear. I mean, does he have it? Does he have another one left in him? I mean, he probably does. I wouldn't expect the same type of production. No, I find
No,
it.
yeah. Yeah,
I
I mean, they paid him to play like it, right? So when you pay him that amount of money, I believe it was close to $80 million. I can't remember the exact numbers. It might be like 76, 77. When we pay somebody $80 million on a contract, those come with targets. Like just that number alone comes with targets. So he kind of has like 50 to 60 targets already made for him, not
yeah,
alone the other 50 or 60 he may get. Yeah, I mean that wide receiver room as a whole is really like what's going to happen there. Because like you just said, we brought in Kyle Williams, they brought in Stephon Diggs, but also like Jalen Polk. I know everyone in New England absolutely hates Jalen Polk. I mean, if you say Jalen Polk in Boston, you might get jumped.
it's
But
been yeah.
but I mean, it's
Yeah, it
still
was
high.
pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still high draft capital. Also, Javon Baker. I mean, but we'll see how it goes. I think the only one that you can really rely on is Stephon Diggs, like I said, because of the payday.
It's funny. I will I will leave the podcast nameless because I don't want to shame it like that. But I was listening to someone said like, yeah, like I'm not sure what the Patriots are thinking drafting Jalen Polk out of Washington. The better wide receiver is Jalen McMillan. I'm like, oh, that's really easy to say now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like coming off of the rookie year, like obviously Jalen McMillan looked better, played better. Like so,
Mhm.
again,
Polk was ranked higher coming out.
just interesting that the Jalen Polk slander is out there right now, and I don't know if it's rightfully just at this point. Maybe he's the one who actually has this
I was gonna say that.
Yeah,
a
you never
breakout
know.
second year.
Yeah.
Look, he wasn't in rookie mini camps just now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's not required to be. So let's just put a pin on that one. And it's Stephon Diggs. We're going to draft both running backs. We may do Pop and the other rookie, Williams late.
If I were to roll the dice on anybody as far as the receiving room, Abe would probably be on Kyle Williams.
Me too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably the person I'd
Hmm.
roll the dice on.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm all about that upside, gentlemen. And
Mm-hmm.
so are the goats. We are going to preach upside, talent. You're going to hear me say it until I'm about blue in the face. Let's get to the
Yep.
Dolphins, who don't have much upside, who don't have much talent. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Jet fan. Let's get. Oh, you know what? The Jets finished in third. The Dolphins
Yeah,
finished better than the Jets.
they did. Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
Well,
I didn't think there was a team that could be worse than the Jets until the Patriots last two seasons.
Mhm.
Now we've actually got the Jets that finished third in the division.
yeah.
All right, look,
You know,
a completely new operation altogether with the same owner. The expectations and the bar are very low. Um, they've got they've got talent. They got some free agency talent. Not so much on offense. They brought in people to fill voids. They had a good draft, right? They drafted
mhm.
Mason Taylor, a tight end. He's going to be a weapon for Justin Fields. Justin
Mhm.
Fields was the big off-season acquisition at quarterback. This is I'm here to tell everybody that again the expectations are extremely low. If we think that Justin Fields, who got a good contract, is going to come in here and bring this team to a 9-8, 10-7 record, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening, Albert. I don't see. I mean, I could see Garrett Wilson having a good season. I could see Sauce Gardner doing really well on defense. I don't know which running back is going to emerge or if they're going to be used in a committee, much like Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery were kind of like utilized. Yeah, they don't have a number two wide receiver, at least not really one that we could call like, I guess, like prolific. I guess maybe
Yeah, not one that instills confidence. Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
no, they don't have that. This team will be better. They'll be, I guess, more disciplined. Here's what's screwy, JX. This team was disciplined a couple of years ago. They were very disciplined, and all of that unraveled last season until it turned undisciplined. So they're like
I
the
I think
season.
it unraveled 2 seasons ago
Uh, that's
because
debatable.
I think once you guys ingested that venom into your locker room, like I'm sorry, like I know the man is talented, I know who he is, and I know what he's done in the league. But at this stage in his career, you can't convince me that Aaron Rodgers is not a locker room cancer.
But 2 seasons ago, he wasn't really with the team that much. So
Well,
don't
well,
they attempted to rally
Yeah.
as best as they could, but they just rallied with this
so
guy.
so here's so
They
so
rallied with
here
they rallied with him.
so here is my rebuttal to that, right?
Yes, please.
So when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, when you bring in a guy like that, right? He comes into the team and all off season, all everybody is talking about is Aaron Rodgers being at the helm, Aaron Rodgers being at the helm. Now, Aaron Rodgers is a vastly different quarterback than Milf Hunter that you just put on the screen there. Um,
That's what he's good for.
yeah, exactly. So he's a vastly different quarterback. So therefore, I feel like the mind state of the team shifted very dramatically once he got hurt. And what was already done when you had that in your mind that like he's gonna be our quarterback, he's gonna be our quarterback, he's gonna be our quarterback. You don't just snap a finger and then all of a sudden start giving Zach Wilson reps, and then everything goes back to the way that it was supposed to be because they're not the same caliber of quarterback. So I
No,
think I think that Zach would have probably even been better last year if he was the guy in the offseason and Aaron was never brought in at all. Because I think he could have focused on the things that he needed to work on. He could have focused on being the guy. He could have taken more reps and taken the necessary steps, and maybe he could have been a little bit better.
you remember though, recall, of course, and I'm sure you do, that he was playing so poorly that they had to bench him and
Yeah,
put the third string guy in, and then when it came down to like trying to attempt to get him back onto the field again, like to reinsert him as a starter, they had to go get Aaron
hmm
Rodgers on the phone or fly him back to New York to talk to Zach
hmm
Wilson. So yes, to your point, there was dysfunction that was still going on, but at least that was like, at least when it came to game day, they at least the defensive side of the ball,
yeah.
they did as much as they possibly could. Then now let's fast forward, and everything that we saw last season was atrocious. So what did they do now? Okay, so JX, they signed Justin Fields. They drafted pretty well. What are the expectations as you see it for the New York Jets in this division? And what are you doing with this running back room? What are
Yeah,
you doing? What are
so
you doing here?
I know the Jets fans aren't going to want to hear this, but I think it's
Uh,
a positive. I think it's a positive thing. I
I'm all
think
for
they're
it.
I think they're taking two steps back to get to be in the position that they were before. Like they had a great foundation. Like you said, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they had that explosive run game with Brees, and they played great defense. Like that defense was feared, especially through the air. I think we're trying to get back to that, and I think the draft tells us that with Membu, Taylor, picking up Justin Fields, keeping all the running backs and having all the running backs, and not adding another outside weapon. That tells me you want to run the ball a lot. You want to control the clock. You want the stars of your team to be number one and number 95. That's you want the stars of the team to be. We love you, Garrett Wilson, but we want one jerseys in the crowd because we I think a win for the Jets this year is to get 7, 8 wins, potentially 9, but that's just playing great defensive football and running the ball until Brees and Braylon and maybe Isaiah say stop.
Now, Brees Hall's not on a 50-year contract, or he didn't.
No,
He
No,
didn't.
they
he was a
didn't pick
second
it
round
up.
pick,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he's a
He was
second
a
round pick.
second round
Okay.
pick, yeah.
Nor does he have a contract extension period, because
Yeah.
he's
hmm
playing on the final year now. Whether he may get one at camp is always possible. He may get one as the season goes on, always possible. I think Brees Hall is going to want to go out and perform as best as possible. Let's see those talents pre ACL tear, post
Mhm.
ACL tear when he returned. He was fantastic 2 seasons ago. Last season it did taper off a little bit, and that may have something to do with the I hate using this, but I can't come up with a better analogy or cliche. The cancer in the room, and
The distraction, you could say.
distraction. Perfect,
Mhm.
perfect. And in New York, we all know that's amplified distraction as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I
But
just I just love the position for Brees right now. I really do. Like I love everything about Brees right now.
but
The ADP I love for sure. I hope it doesn't rise. I wanted to say exactly where it's
you,
at.
You know it
Uh,
will.
yeah, no, right. But
no,
also
I don't think
Nah,
before
I
you
don't think it will.
you don't think it
and
will?
and
Oh, well, listen, I
and
hope it stays the same.
And
But
honestly, the reason I think it will is because people are going to start talking themselves out of players above him. So those players are going to drop, and then he's going to rise up because of all the points, all the things that you just said. Like it's all lined up for him to get the lion's share.
yeah, but like I think for him because he's always been an efficiency guy.
Hmm.
Having Justin Fields is just only going to increase the efficiency. It happens for all the guys who come with mobile quarterbacks. They kind of take that next gear. Like I think Brees was about 15th in explosive run rate last year, and it wasn't even his best year. It was
Hmm.
15th. So if we're we're watching Justin Fields and read option, that 15% could turn or that 15th rank can turn to fifth rank, and he can kind of be
Hmm.
right back where he was before.
it's not.
And
It's not.
Justin Fields' speed is different.
It is. So you have to account for him. You have to.
Hmm.
Let's not also forget that Brees Hall's got a great pass catching running back.
Hmm.
Yes, he is.
He caught damn near 75 balls 2 seasons ago. Now that dipped
Hmm.
as well last season.
Yep.
Again, the only thing I'm gonna caution and back to the ADP debate, which we're going to continuously do from now on, all the way till damn near September 5th, probably, is
Hmm.
because there's kind of like this question mark on how they're going to work all three of these guys. None of them are part of this experiment. None of them are part of this new head coach, this new general manager, and we could very well again see them deployed in a very similar manner to the Jameer Gibbs, David Monty. I'm not suggesting one. I'm not suggesting Brees Hall would be the Jameer Gibbs and vice versa. I don't even know
Hmm.
how to parse that, and we probably shouldn't parse that either. Again, like reminds me of what we.
Bree,
It reminds me of what
Bree,
we're attempting to do with the Chicago Bears right now. Is what it
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
Brees Hall is what would happen if David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs fused.
Touche.
That's exactly who he is.
Touche. All right. We
I'm
could.
not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that. I could go with that for sure. He should stand on his own,
Hmm.
absolutely. But yeah, right now he's going as like an RB 14, 15. That's putting
Mhm.
it's putting it.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I want the
it's put
ADP.
it's
Keep
putting
that
him in the
ADP right
third. It's
there.
putting him in the third round. Look at the
Hmm.
league that we're drafting right now. Though way too early, but it's not way too early.
Yeah.
Redraft league from from the big draft energy redraft league.
Someone in our league is gonna cry by August. I promise you, because I promise you, once the injuries start piling up, somebody's team is gonna look like a ghost town
It's
by
great.
the
No.
time August comes around.
Oh, then you know what to do. You just start.
Yeah, right. Start hitting up the trades. Start plucking from that wire.
That's why you build a nice bench, nice depth for
That's
yourself.
that's
Exactly.
true.
Um, what other note?
Yeah, running back 14 is pretty wild. Like
14,
that's
15. He's somewhere
yeah.
along those lines. Let's not forget you got Ashton Genty that's pushed all the way up the board.
Oh,
So that's part of it. You've got a healthy dose of the top. You got a healthy tier one and tier two of wide receivers. Then it drops off from there. So
mhm.
you got Brock Bowers and Trey McBride are slipping in there. That's why you
Mhm.
see Brees Hall is in the
Volume.
third. JT is like an early third.
Mhm.
Kyron Williams is going
That's
like late
crazy.
third. Yeah,
Crazy.
and running back is strong, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
With
Hmm.
this resurgence, and we're going to speak about another running back who's going high on in early drafts right now, and that would be Devon A. Chain of
Hmm.
the Miami Dolphins, who are coming in next, projected to win 6.5 games, which really means they're either going to win 7 or 8, or they're going to
Hmm.
lose 6 or 5 or 4, worse. Um, they didn't look. We know what they had to do. They didn't draft one offensive player. They didn't draft anybody on offense. I
Yep.
don't think. Let me just let's double check so I don't say something that's not correct,
Oh, I
Falco.
mean, they drafted Ollie Gordon in the sixth
Okay,
round.
there you
Yep,
go.
yeah.
Ali. Oh, I hate that landing spot for him.
Other than that, they brought in Nick Westbrook Akine in free agency
Mhm.
in a crowded wide receiver room. I'm not sure what that looks like. They beefed up at tackle. They beefed up on guard. Another guard. Um,
They had
Cornerback.
to.
They needed core. They did all a lot. They were busy in free agency, so it's not like they're
They,
not attempting to do anything. And
hmm.
then they drafted all defense with the exception of Ollie Gordon. But we really know what this team is. At least we think we know what this team is. This team is going to live and die with their head coach and his relationship with the quarterback. And and
Hmm.
and then another and a uh, uh, kind of like an addiction, almost like an addiction to feed a certain wide receiver that's also
Hmm.
aging, coming off of a down year. So, what do you make of the Dolphins? What I mean, like, is this
Um,
team? This team needs a complete reset, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, I think, and I was gonna say that. I think that um, this is a special case for the Dolphins. I think that they're in a great spot to actually get a top 5 pick this upcoming season, or a top 10 pick, and try and move into the top 5, because this quarterback crop is supposed to be miles ahead of what we just got, this draft. So I think that this would be a perfect time for them to reset. If I was them, I'd ship Tyreek Hill out of Miami. I would find a way to just become a Waddle and ground game kind of team. I don't trust them under 60 degrees outside. Like,
60
it,
degrees.
yeah, six. It has to be 60. It has to be at least 60.
Oh my God, 60 degrees. I like it. That's that. You know how generous that is. 60
Yeah,
degrees. Oh,
yeah, super.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of these names here. Forgive me, goats. Again, Benito Jones. He re-signed with the team.
Hmm.
Willie Gay Jr. signed. I mean, these are all
That's
again.
pretty decent stuff.
These aren't like real household names.
Hmm. Yeah, they're plugins, like you said. They're just guys that they needed to fill some holes, so they said, we'll sign some vets who've been on some winning programs and try and see if we can make something work.
Let's go. And you brought up Tyreek Hill. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess again, a couple of seasons ago, he tore up the league, led in like yards, or second in yards, second in touchdowns, or first in touchdowns. We know he's the cheetah, but is he the cheetah? Still, he's coming off of a turbulent offseason. He's
Hmm.
got a nagging wrist injury that started last season. It seems like he's
Yeah,
still he's still trying to repair it.
yeah. I think he had a second procedure recently.
They have a former first round draft pick in Jalen Waddle, who they seem content on not utilizing in the best way
Yeah, that's weird.
possible. So yeah, they got a very talented running back. We know that.
They
Who's
have
going to
John Smith at tight end. He's electric.
emerge the renaissance of
Hmm.
Smith, which hurt the other pass catchers, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They uber targeted Tyreek Hill, and what it did was it absolutely forced defenses to just blanket him. He doesn't have the same speed, I don't think, and that left
He's a tick slower. Yeah.
and that left guys like Johnu Smith wide open. It left Devon Aching open, or designed open. Like, you know what? We might as well just design it for him. Here's the other thing that's very troubling, though. Devon Achane was very, very good in the passing game. He wasn't that efficient carrying the ball. And if Tua wasn't in the game, then it was a real problem.
He was
Mhm.
terrible. And that leaves me terrified about Devon Achane. It leaves me
Mhm.
terrified just by how the volume of targets alone is wide receiver type targets. Like, is
Mhm.
that really sustainable? And they draft Jalen Wright high last year. And then I know people say the 6th round pick, but Ollie Gordon is not like the other two guys,
Mhm.
right? So whenever someone does that, they draft something that's not like what they already have. That tells me that they're looking for something different.
Mhm.
So it tells me that you don't want him doing short yardage. So his touchdowns might go down. He's he's already just catching reliant. You still have Jalen Waddle, who you didn't pass to last year. Is he going to get out of the pass game now? Like, Devon Achane is to me kind of been like a tad bit overrated, just because like I just don't know what we're going to get from him.
I think they're hoping that he becomes more efficient. I think they're hoping that like on limited touches, he gives you a few explosive plays here and there. And like you said, his touchdowns are likely going to go down, but they're probably hoping that he gets a lot more yardage in the process.
If this team again, if knock on wood, Tua were to miss more time, and now we know that they brought in Zach Wilson, they
They would have
drafted
to play Quinn Ewers.
they drafted Quinn Ewers. Look, I think I would move him up the depth chart,
Hmm.
and I think he would go in before Zach Wilson. But
Before Zach Wilson.
that's just me. But
Hmm.
I think that this team is in a hell of a lot of trouble, whether Tua makes it through a healthy 2025 campaign or not. This team is just, they don't have the right personnel in place. But again, this is why we play the games. They have a is it 6.5 projected, which, again, 7-win season. Yeah, I could
Hmm.
see that. I could see it being worse,
Yeah, all
especially
the seven
Yeah.
games in Miami.
especially if one of these two teams, the Jets and or the Patriots, are improved.
Hmm.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah, there's opportunity here where the Dolphins are a bottom 10 football team in the NFL.
Hmm.
Their defense is getting significantly worse.
Mm,
They lost Javon Holland to the Giants. They're
Hmm.
going to lose Jalen Ramsey here. There's no immediate replacements happening.
Nope.
I don't know if you guys spoke about it, but they lost Teron Armstead. They're hoping
Hmm.
that the guy they drafted last year is going to make a leap on an
A
already
rookie
bad,
left tackle is a disaster.
and they're hoping that he's better than your bad offensive line last year. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
So,
They're set up to fail.
I was surprised that they didn't draft offensive tackle in the 1st round in this year's draft, but that's besides the point, man. I don't have much confidence in the Dolphins as a whole this year. Tyreek could end up potentially being gone here soon as well. Um,
it's worse than that, JX. It's now like almost like an AB light. They're saying
Hmm.
yeah, it's
that's not good. That's bad.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, six and a
Kansas
half.
Kansas City knew they saw this coming.
An AB light.
Six and
Hmm.
a half is too optimistic for me. I'm
Yeah,
willing to
same
take the
here.
under on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's hope.
I
Let's
mean,
for his
th-
own sake.
there could be a scenario here where by this time next year, the Dolphins have a new quarterback. Tua is not in Miami anymore. Neither is Tyreek. Neither is Jalen Ramsey. Like we could be at that point at this time next year because they've already paid Tua. So it's like they gave him the mass contract. They
Yeah.
gave him, all that money. Now it's like if they get into the top five, they don't have any loyalty to Tua. They'll just Josh Rosen him.
Yeah, no, I would think that would be the end of it. I would think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Any showing that's going to be 500 or less, and again, I think he's coaching for his job and the general
Yes.
manager, and that's the way it is. I mean, like I don't know how many of the same type of season you could possibly have.
Correct.
Kenneth Grant is a nice piece. that they drafted from Michigan. That's great. And then everything that they did, again, in the trenches, in the secondary, these are just
They made a lot of long-term moves.
Again, that we're going to see the same thing schematically, and we're beating a dead horse right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there is a little bit of bias, but I'm trying not to. I mean, I'd love to have Jalen Waddle back on my team, on my fantasy teams. I'd love to, but like they seem, again, they're content on not throwing to him and having him run routes and draw the protection away from Tyreek.
Right.
And that's leaving other people open. So until that changes, and schematically, there's nothing else we can do. I'll draft him on A-Chain if the price is right.
Price is right.
I would not draft Tyreek Hill at where his ADP is right now. I'm
too rich.
I'm going to continue to fade that, and the quarterback is a fade. That's it, guys.
I mean, I don't think he's a complete fade. Well, in redraft, he's probably a late dart throw, but I think Tua is a prime best ball pick. Like, I think he's the type of player that, like, you draft as like your third or your fourth quarterback in best ball, and then every once in a while he'll give you a 50-point game because Tyreek or Waddle went off.
There'll be those weeks. He'll have his 3 touchdown game, his 4 touchdown game, and then there's gonna be like a good stretch of weeks where it'll be one.
It'll get you like 10, 12, 16.
No rushing upside.
No rushing upside. None. Yeah.
And again, I mean, like, quarterbacks, I'm gonna tell you or anybody here listening and watching, quarterbacks take hits. This particular one is under a microscope.
Yeah, Tua is a special case. If Tua ever takes off, they should take yards away from him as he's running forward.
The doc is paying. Like, what the hell are you doing running?
Exactly.
What are you asking for it? No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. So, like, okay, I get the warrior mentality. I love that part. But, like, look, we don't need to see your head coach kissing you on the cheek either, because you just got your bell rung again. And he's concerned.
Not at the cost of your health. Yeah.
Why are you stubborn that you can't wear a Guardian cap?
I don't know, man.
I know, but just to be safe, so that you don't miss any time.
If he doesn't want to do it for himself, do it for us. That are watching.
That's what I'm saying.
It would make us feel better if you put on a Guardian cap.
Do it for your front office. Do it for your head coach.
Do the selfless thing.
Exactly. Right.
I'm with you guys. I'm with you. Let's talk. Let's get to the fourth and final team, the almost AFC champions. They just missed it once again. Almost an AFC champion, Buffalo Bills.
I have an interesting question before you start. I have an interesting question, right?
Please.
Out of the Bills or the Ravens, which one of these two teams do you think will break through first? Because one of these teams is bound to break through and get to a Super Bowl during a year where KC is not themselves. Who do you think gets it done first?
I'll see that answer, but I'll raise you. I don't think they'll go through KC. I think it'll be them playing one another to go.
Well, yeah, no, of course. I don't mean like they'll have to go to Arrowhead, but I'm saying like one of these teams is gonna have to beat the Chiefs one of these years to get to the Super Bowl. Which one of these teams do you think it'll be?
It's like asking to pick your favorite child.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to. I would think it would be the Bills. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was the Ravens either. If the Ravens could get it together, like, just like in their heads when it comes to the big game.
Right.
I mean, like they have the personnel. They know how to win, like, for 18, 19 weeks straight. And so do the Bills, though. And then again, the Achilles heel has been the Chiefs. I think both teams are just right there, and I think the Buffalo Bills are saying the same thing to themselves. They went out, they brought in Bosa. They went and they drafted damn near everybody on defense general managers taking calls and interviews post draft as to why he didn't draft
Any wide receivers.
any wide receivers, like
Don't need one.
as if he has to explain that
Right.
they do fine the way they do fine. They work with Khalil Shakir. They work
Mhm.
with the Knife Hollins, who's no longer there. He's on the Patriots, by the way. He stayed in division.
Hey,
And raw but
yeah.
talented Keon Coleman.
Rookie Coleman from last
Yeah.
year. Let's see if he takes a jump. They brought in Josh Palmer.
hmm
Mm,
They have
yeah.
they have they got a Elijah
More.
Elijah Moore. Yeah, they brought in Elijah Moore.
More.
Yeah.
They've
No,
got
that is the new age Buffalo Bills wide receiver core. There's not getting better than that.
hmm
they're not
As
playing.
long as as long as 17 is still throwing the ball, he's gonna make all that work. Like
They're not playing fantasy.
no.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
I mean, well, Josh Allen may be playing fantasy.
Yeah.
James Cook played a lot
Jo-
of fantasy last season. James
Josh
Cook.
Allen. Josh Allen drafts himself as the 101 every single year.
Uh, I,
He, he drafts himself as the 101.
I mean, I would too.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
their wide receiver room works for them, and that's all. That's great.
hmm
But they know what they need to do. They need to go after Pat Mahomes. They have to go after Lamar. So what do? They brought in a defensive edge. They shored up their secondary. They drafted that dude Maxwell Hairston.
I love
I
that
love
draft.
that guy.
I love that.
I
I love the
love that guy.
draft.
His energy is insane. I love that guy.
How about those clips?
hmm
And
Mhm.
we didn't catch it live, or maybe you guys did. I didn't.
I didn't
I
catch it live.
did.
No.
I did, but I thought it was
Of
I
him
thought
in
it
the
was
green,
so
him
yeah,
in the
like
green room.
yeah, he was dabbing everybody up. I'm like, did he go to school with all these guys? I'm like, because the NIL transfer portal, he might have went to Florida, Alabama, and Georgia
High
at the
energy
same
guy,
time. But
man.
no, he was just happy to be there, dabbing up everybody, man. That was
Like,
awesome.
hmm
if you didn't know any better, you would think he was like a relative of each and every one of them.
Exactly.
Exactly, exactly.
That's how happy and excited he was.
Hey,
Oh,
his energy matches the way he plays.
so they brought in that dude. This Buffalo Bills team knows exactly what they need to do. And I've been saying it with Rhino, with UAB, with you, JX. I've been saying it. You have to get after the quarterback, and that quarterback happens to be Patrick Mahomes in your conference.
And
You're
that
gonna have
draft
to
was awesome.
you're gonna have to go after him and go get him and put pressure. And I think that's what the Bills are gonna do. The offense remains the same. Again, none of these dudes are really going to do that much for us in fantasy. We know what Shakir is. Shakir's a good wide receiver.
Yeah,
He's all
but
right.
I'm looking for Shakir to hit a breakout though. They paid him 60, and he hasn't hit 1,000 yet.
hmm
I'm expecting 1,000-yard season from Shakir. I need them to take the next step. You paying a guy like that, like I said, when you pay somebody, it comes with targets. He should be
hmm
seeing 1,000 yards this year.
I mean, he looks like he's ready for that next step.
Hmm.
And honestly, I feel like Josh Palmer is a decent upgrade over Mac Hollins. Like Mac Hollins looks like the superior athlete, and I think he very well could be. But I think Josh Palmer is like he's a good security blanket. I think
Oh, for sure.
yeah, he can get you some intermediate routes, some deep routes. He's a big body. Like I think he's a good signing for them.
He still has wheels on him because I remember seeing several times him and Herbert just missed. They just
hmm
Hmm.
he like I think and I'll give it to Palmer it was Herbert that just overthrew him on several deep balls, but Palmer was
hmm
downfield. Palmer was open. Now again, I think he just fits into like what they're doing as a group.
Yeah.
hmm
Not what the X is doing as an X, and not what the Fiker is doing as a Fiker, and so on and so forth. I think he fits much like what they want to do in Green Bay with those wide.
hmm
He just fits. He's a piece of that puzzle. Again,
hmm
what about James Cook? Are we going to let him cook again this year? I mean, 18 touchdowns. I don't imagine him topping that.
Nah, that was the
Yeah, he's probably
quietest.
not getting that.
Yeah, that was the quietest 18 touchdown season I think maybe in fantasy history. I
Hmm.
mean, because I mean, it was like week 16 came around and it was like, oh, he has 16 touchdowns. It's like James Cook has 16 touchdowns.
Hmm. I,
So,
I had a feeling because 2 years ago, there was a stat that came out. He had like 4 touchdowns, like a total on the year, but he
mhm.
got stopped at the 1 yard line 8 times.
Yep.
So I was like, bro, like that regression has to hit the other way. It has to.
Yeah, I would think. Well, let me put it to you this way. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that yeah, while that touchdown total does come down, they still find a way to keep him productive. So like
Yeah.
maybe they add to his receptions. Maybe they
Hmm.
utilize him more as a receiver, like they did a few years ago.
Hmm.
Maybe they lighten the load on like Ray Davis, although I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't.
Right.
So I would want to keep his production as close to the same as possible. But yeah, I don't think he's going
And
to score that much.
yeah,
Score that many again.
and he'll score some touchdowns on some breakaway runs because his speed is still his
Yeah.
biggest weapon.
Listen, no one's going to be upset with that.
Yeah.
No one's going to be upset with that when we see him torch a defense in the snow like he did against the Niners last season.
Hmm.
Mhm.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Everyone,
It's definitely
everyone,
not going to be 18 though.
everyone. Yeah, I wouldn't expect 18 total
Yeah.
touchdowns.
So what do we think? What do we think his ceiling is? He's with 18 touchdowns. He was still, I believe, running back 11.
Hmm.
So what do we are we do we still think he's the RB1 or
Wait, was he
fringe
really that
RB?
low?
Yeah, I believe he was a running back 11. Please someone tell me if
his
I'm
nu-
wrong.
his numbers are RB1. It's not how he's being drafted though.
Yeah.
His numbers of
Well, yeah, because majority of his of his stats were inflated because of the touchdown. Like that's why he was able to rank as high as he did because
so
he didn't
he
score that many touchdowns. His yardage would like he barely cracked 1,000.
so basically the market is all built in the regression.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Since I'm a bad echo.
By the way, Bill 9.5 is way too low.
Yes, it is.
I think
Nine and a half.
Big Bill.
Nine
I
and a
think
half.
he easily win 11 or 12 games.
We should put that in now. As a matter of fact,
He definitely
like
should.
why wouldn't we go over? Well, hold on. What's the cost?
Hmm.
What's the cost of that? It's got to
Yeah,
be
trying.
it's got to be like minus like $500.
No, well, because it's what it's set at. It'll be closer to like 140 or like 150 ish.
Sniper, you want to bet the Bills over with us? I think we'll win some money together. Sniper wants to play fantasy. She's gonna. If I put her in a league, the chances of her winning the league are very, very high. So that's why I'm a little reluctant to put her in one of the GOAT leagues, but I have to because we should all want to compete against the Sniper. Where's the wins? Win totals. Let's get to the Bills. The Bills.
Ooh, good lord. Yeah, you're right.
Minus 500. You have to risk 500.
Minus 490.
If but that's what it's telling you. Like,
Yeah.
with this team, it would take something catastrophic.
Well, I mean, right. So the real number I think is over 11 and a half because that's at minus 145. So like I think I would think that would be the number that the market uses.
Oh boy.
Because that 11 and a half is more realistic.
Either way, they should smash either or.
Yep. Win the division, no problem.
Win the division, no problem. All right, you guys want to call it an evening? Oh, wait a minute. The schedule release is the official release
tomorrow.
What do we got so far? We got the international games, right? We got the
week
kickoff.
1 game.
Jerry.
Dallas could get embarrassed week 1 and get it out of the way.
I don't know.
There's no Dallas is going to get embarrassed. The first okay, first of all, the first obvious mismatch is Dallas's O-line versus Philly's D-line. That's the first obvious mismatch. Dallas,
are we sure?
Dallas, yes.
Are we sure?
Absolutely.
Are we really sure about that? I'm not sold.
Yes.
No.
Dallas's Hall of Fame center retired. They just drafted a brand new left tackle. Yeah. Dallas is going to get hammered on the D-line. They're not going to be able to do anything. They're not going to be able to do anything. They're going to control that game week 1. And then you got to think about the people that they added, right? They added Jahad Campbell. Mm-hmm. Jahad Campbell right next to what's his name? The guy that they picked up, Zach Bond. Mm-hmm. They're going to have Cooper DeJean on the outside, Quinyon Mitchell on the outside. But George Pickens might get ejected week 1. George Pickens might get ejected week 1. He could fight somebody. He could fight one of those guys week 1. And honestly, I think Dallas is going to get embarrassed on national television.
I don't know, man.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, of course, it wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't, no.
Yeah, but they would get it out of the way early. They need to, because this is mean. The schedule makers, this is mean.
I mean, I'm looking at this game. I'm looking at that game week 1. I mean, first off, it's gonna be week 1, so it's gonna be rusty. It's gonna be rusty for the first quarter and a half.
That's why the defense gets the edge.
Well, but I don't think the Eagles D line is the same. Like, they lost Joshua and Milton Williams, and I know they drafted. You mean
Joshua and Milton Williams were rotational pieces? Yes, they were impactful. Yes, they were impactful, but they're not
for the Eagles alone. He had 4 sacks.
Yes, because of the surrounding cast, because of Jalen Carter getting double, triple teamed in the middle. Those are the guys that matter. Yes, the other guys around them were great. They were productive. They contributed, but without the 2 big, massive human beings that they have in the middle of that defensive line, those guys on the outside don't get those one-on-ones. And those guys are the guys coming back.
I look at it like this. I like the rust factor because I think that's real.
Yeah, of course.
Like these dudes aren't really playing any preseason games. And then let's just look back to some of these opening games the last few years. I mean, the Super Bowl champs, it's a close game, it's a tight game. It's not whether it's a high scoring affair or not, but it's not really lopsided. I can see Dallas hanging in there.
To be fair, Casey did not have Chris Jones week 1.
Who won that game?
The Lions won by 1.
Wait, last year KC won against Baltimore, right?
No. Week 1 was Lions versus KC. Week 1.
No, that was 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Remember,
that's 2 years. Yeah, that was 2 years ago. Yeah, the toe. There you go. The toe. Yeah. Yeah, that was 2 years ago with the Lions.
We all thought Isaiah Likely was going to be tied in 1 for the rest of the season after that game.
What a shame.
We're still going to be thinking that.
Yeah, right.
What a shame.
Just gets off to a slow start again. All right.
Yeah, right.
Let's wrap it up this evening. We will be back this upcoming Thursday. We'll do a rookie mock draft. We'll see you at 8:00. You guys have anything else for us before we get out of here?
No, not really. Yeah. Draft responsibly, gamble responsibly if you gamble. And have a great one.
Bet only what you could afford to lose. Right. The
NBA is rigged.
That's for damn sure. We have been talking about, win totals, over unders, betting. Yeah, no, great call. Bet only what you can afford to lose.
Speaking of the NBA being rigged, if Giannis gets dealt in the offseason, sprinkle a little money on the Bucks getting the number 1 overall pick.
Where's he going? Knicks?
Yeah, sure. Yep.
He's not going. He's not going to New York.
We're a destination again, baby. Come on.
He'll probably end up leaving the East altogether.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, guys, thank you. Appreciate it.